She's free to join us tonight, and she is Dr. Jill Stein with us now. Dr. Stein, thanks very much for coming on. You'd think that the party of diversity would be for more diverse views, but they're not. Why is that?
Well, I'm not sure it's actually the party of diversity. We got two parties, and they're both working for corporate masters and the fossil fuel giants and the big banks and Wall Street and the war machine and so on. So, that's not my opinion that, that the Democrats are the party of diversity. But let me say, voters deserve more choices. And, in the last election, we saw over 100 million voters. The largest block of voters is not voting because they're not being represented by the system. So we really do need more choices. We need non-corporate choices and people-powered choices. And we can have those choices without fear of splitting the vote. There is a win-win solution here. It's called ranked choice voting. The state of Maine just passed it. It's used by millions of voters around the country. So it really makes obsolete this whole issue of, the struggle between, well, can we have choices or do we have to force people into two pigeonholes that, the majority of voters, almost 60% of voters are saying that we need a new independent political party because they're tired of being thrown under the bus by the other two, whether we have Democrats or Republicans. It's not working out so well for everyday working people who don't have health care. They're locked into debt and so on. We need more choices, and we can have it. So let's not keep that a secret. We should require, these electeds to actually pass a simple reform. The state of Maine just did it. It's available to us right now. We can have it before the 2020 election.
I've followed that pretty closely because I'm interested in Maine. I'm not sure I understand ranked choice voting, or many people in Maine understand it. But I wonder, the broader question seems
pretty...
Well,
they think they do.
Maybe they do, and maybe I will if I studied harder. But the broader question of should you have... You could not. Trust me, I've tried. But here's the broader question. Why do the media cooperate with this effort to shut down anybody who offers an actual choice to what we have? Why wouldn't they be open-minded enough to let the candidates speak their piece, let voters decide, and the system work the way it's supposed to? Why do they have to crush people, accuse them of being Russian agents, if they have a different view?
Well, if they were doing their job, their job is to educate voters, not to tell voters or to pigeonhole voters or to vilify voters for expressing their discontent with two parties that have thrown them under the bus. In the last election, we had two candidates who were the most disliked and untrusted in modern history. And 75% of voters were screaming for open debates. They wanted to hear from the Libertarian and the Green. They wanted to hear a debate about, for example, our war machine, which is going full speed ahead right now. The last tax day, the average taxpayer gave over $3,500 practically to the war machine and $40 to the EPA to give us clean air and water. How's that working out for us? Not
so are you going to run it?
This needs to be debated.
Well, I think everything needs to be debated. I'm totally, and that's a place where we agree vehemently. Are you going to run again in 2020, do you think?
I do not have any plans to run at this point. There's plenty else to do, and I feel like I've done my duty this time around, and it's time for someone else to carry that banner. But I'm certainly fighting for the cause of more voices and more choices in our political system.
I agree with that 100%. And you're not a Russian agent if you think that. Dr. Jill Stein, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tucker.